As of right now, we have received yet another significant development concerning the SEC's lawsuit against Ripple. Due to the fact that the SEC Gov has submitted a status report to the Court of Appeals, it is almost as if we are unable to get out of this matter. The report states that the parties have submitted a joint stipulation of dismissal of the appeals and that the stipulation is still outstanding and is therefore waiting for approval by the court. This case is still, if you will, merely working through the tiresome minutiae that have been accumulated. In addition, you should know that we are still waiting for it to be officially concluded. Now, the reason why we are still concentrating on this, and I would assume that by the end of this month, we should have formally abandoned all of this, is because we are still focused on this. The primary reason that we continue to concentrate on this is because of the developments that we are seeing in the alternative cryptocurrency industry. To be more specific, what is that? On the other hand, the push for institutional adoption through exchange-traded funds, ETFs, is going to be the most significant accelerator for any alternative cryptocurrency in this market. I have been comparing the chart of XRP to that of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Sol, and even Doge because, once more, I just want to bring to your attention the fact that XRP has beaten practically everything in this market in the past year, with the exception of meme coins and new launch debuts, right? Since we are discussing Bitcoin and XRP, it is important to note that XRP has outperformed Bitcoin by almost 5 times. The number of instances that XRP has been used against Ethereum is roughly 5, and it has even been used against Solana. I mean, it's not even comparable at this point, and even with Dogecoin also, XRP has been outperforming, and I could go own the entire top 100 list and do the same exact thing, or I could just open up the general coin market cap view here, and let's just go to top gainers and top losers and top 100 for the last 30 days. You know, if we are going to look at some of these top gainers, why don't we just assume that OKB is the best option? If you were to claim that OKB is going crazy, you would argue that it is definitely outperforming XRP, right? To the contrary, XRP continues to beat OKB. Despite the fact that all of these projects are making substantial progress, XRP continues to outperform practically every single one of them over the course of each and every year. Because of this, XRP has increased by more than 440% over the course of the past year, and it has already been one of the initiatives that has been the most sought for during this cycle. Moreover, there is a hint that the attention is on the institution. Exactly. XRP is something that I would be considering if I were an asset management organization, and I would say that I find this to be an interesting cryptocurrency. Exactly. We have to check into this matter a little bit more. Due to the fact that we are now in the market, we require an exchange-traded fund ETF that is centered on XRP. Making a profit is the primary objective of our company. If this is something that we are considering, then we need to examine how XRP compares to other exchange-traded funds, ETFs, that have previously been introduced, such as Bitcoin and even Ethereum. In addition, in order to make a comparison that is more accurate, we take into consideration the demand, the performance, and the amount of attention that is focused on XRP. And I believe that this is telling us that these institutional players are also noting that XRP has been a really strong mover already this year. This is something that I believe indicates at the point it has been outperforming all of the best dogs. This also indicates that there will be a significant push on exchange-traded funds, ETFs, in the very near future. On the other hand, Moreover, if we are considering that, we have also received a significant update from the CEO of Ripple. XRP Spot ETF is on the way very soon. We received this on the 15th. According to Brad Garlinghouse, he is certain that the United States Securities and Exchange Commission will give its approval to an XRP Spot exchange-traded fund. The decision deadline is set for October 2025, and trading is anticipated to begin very shortly. This year, October is up. Will this be a moment when XRP makes a breakthrough? In addition, we seem to recall that we received that news from Standard Chartered. At that time, which was 4 months ago, they predicted that the price of XRP would reach $12.50 by the time 2028 came to a close. On the other hand, they did mention something inside of this that was quite fascinating. Is that something? It is the exchange-traded fund for XRP. The projected introduction of a spot XRP exchange-traded fund, ETF, in the United States by the third quarter of 2025 is a significant factor that is driving this rise. Now, in addition, they are predicting that the price of XRP will be $550s in 2025 in comparison to the figure of $200,000 for Bitcoin and $4,000 for Ethereum. What do you think then? On Ethereum, they are already missing the mark. To this day, I am not familiar with Bitcoin. However, 550 looks to be a good price for XRP. I believe that their price forecast for 2026, which is $8, is more accurate than their forecast for 2027, which is $10.40. But once more, we will have to wait and see what happens. But the most important item that I'm looking at is their anticipated approval of a spot XRP ETF in the third quarter decision. I believe that this prediction really has the potential to live up to the hype that has been around it because the case is already coming to a close. XRP is receiving an increasing amount of NTN from this point on, and it seems as though it is almost finished. At this time, everyone's attention is focused on XRP due to the significant performance it has already demonstrated this year. And at the moment, despite the fact that we are currently in the Ethereum phase of the cycle, I am primarily concentrating on understanding what alternative cryptocurrencies are capable of doing in this market the moment that Ethereum achieves a new all-time high. Now, in addition to that, we also head over here to the Ethereum exchange-traded funds, ETFs, because we have to concentrate on the Ethereum ETFs at the moment because it is kind of providing us with a window into how successful some of these other old currency ETFs could be since, for the longest time, what have we heard? We have heard that not all Ethereum exchange-traded funds are very successful. Ethereum exchange-traded funds, ETFs, are anticipated to continue to fall behind Bitcoin ETFs. The focus is entirely on Bitcoin. What do you think then? Over $600 million was the fourth largest inflow day ever for Ethereum exchange-traded funds, ETFs. It has been this week that 3 of the top 4 inflow days since the introduction have occurred. The market has swiftly become a money hoover since it has generated about $3 billion in new money over the course of the last 4 trading sessions. Additionally, there was a record amount of trading volume for spot Ethereum ETFs over here. Take a look at this list. There is a strong suggestion that institutional investors are becoming more active. Additionally, we could observe the volume of Ether exchange-traded funds, ETFs, in the United States reaching an all-time high. Not to mention the largest trading volume week ever recorded for spot crypto ETFs, which brings us to our closing point. Specified Ethereum exchange-traded funds complete smashed the previous record for weekly trading volume. I am curious as to if there are still people who are skeptics and critics of the idea. On the other hand, when we consider Ethereum, the MO, when I go back to the days when XRP was the second largest cryptocurrency asset, I realized that it was responsible for repeated flips of Ethereum to the opposite direction. It's possible that the demand for XRP will swiftly surpass that of Ethereum. I have a strong belief that we have the potential to develop a spot XRP ETF that is incredibly profitable. And I believe that this might be a catalyst for, a whole bunch of attention to flow on to XRP, which would also bring in a lot of volume and value to XRP. I think that this may be a catalyst. And it is possible that this will be the impetus that causes XRP to truly switch Ethereum once more in the very near future. We are unsure as to whether or not that will occur during this cycle. Despite the fact that we do not know what will take place, I am only stating that it is definitely a possibility. But I do believe that the fact that Ethereum exchange-traded funds have been so successful is also a hint at, in the event that we move on to the subsequent phase, which is altcoins, I believe that altcoin exchange-traded funds, if they are allowed, might possibly surge against Ethereum and Bitcoin exchange-traded funds likewise. Now, speaking more specifically about that, we also have over here the XRP ETF, which will be the wave that people have not realized may happen. The entire thing has only been pre-season thus far. There is a possibility that a standardized framework for cryptocurrency exchange-traded funds, ETFs, could be introduced within the next 2 months, as stated by Nakri Alshi on CNBC. There will be no longer individual approvals for each spot ETF. As a result, the market may soon be flooded with a surge of XRP, Solana Cardano, and other exchange-traded funds, as well as a huge thank you to Zephyr Crypto for this. Give it a look, you guys. The approval procedure would be simplified as a result of this. And this is significant because at the moment, there are filings available from a number of different issuers for XRP ETFs, Solana ETFs, Cardano, and HBR. We could continue to go down the list, but there are a great many filings that are currently available. The implementation of the standardized crypto framework is anticipated to take place, say, within the next 2 months or so, according to the expectations. Therefore, if and when that occurs, I believe you are going to witness the floodgates opening at that point. We are going to witness a surge of approvals, and you are going to witness once more a plethora of new cryptocurrency exchange